Hello Year 7. So we're continuing with the food module that we have been doing so far this half term and looking in a little bit more detail at food styling, kind of presentation of our dishes. So our learning aims for this half term are identifying the different reasons for choosing food. Today's lesson kind of encompasses a few bits from each of the different coloured sections, and so it's kind of an overarching lesson today. So just a quick little task, and pause this video after or before you answer each question so you've got time to do so. Which of the two dishes you can see on the screen do you think is more expensive? Do you think it's dish A? Do you think it's dish B? And then have a go at kind of explaining your reason. If given the choice, which one would you eat? And why would you choose that one? Alright, there's not a right or a wrong answer with that one. That's completely personal preference. And then finally, what kind of people do you think would choose dish A or choose dish B? This kind of comes into a little bit of a funny area in the fact when we're talking about who we're targeting food at, for example, we have to be almost quite stereotypical in our views, and we need to not be closed-minded, but we need to be aware of people from different backgrounds, people of different age groups, for example. What they are looking for from their food is going to be slightly different. And so although we don't really like using stereotypes that much, it's not necessarily a good thing, it's not necessarily that useful. In this context, it is something that we need to just be mindful of. So when styling a dish, there's lots of things we need to consider. The big one is the target market. Who do you want to buy the food? Who do you want to eat it? You could think about their age. Someone that's 8 and someone that's 55, what they're looking for when they buy their food is going to be quite different. How much money do they have to spend? How will they be eating it? Are they eating it on the go, in a restaurant, from a packet, a kitchen table? All of those things will have an impact on how it can be presented. And also, what is their background? What experiences have they had? If they're from a certain background and they have always had food presented in a certain way or always a certain type of food, that's what they feel familiar with and much more comfortable in selecting those food items, say if they were at a restaurant. If there is someone that has had a really kind of mixed upbringing, they might be used to having food in lots and lots of different formats, and that's perfectly comfortable to them, and they might have make different decisions when they're picking their food based on that. And that's not that it's a good thing or a bad thing, that's just the way it is. People want to feel comfortable when they're making their food choices. You can think about where you're selling it, think about the practicalities. If someone hasn't got a table to sit down and eat it, you're not going to present something that is going to require a knife and fork to be able to actually consume it. Who's making and serving it? Is it someone that's going to have lots and lots of skills and expertise in the presentation? Or is it someone where actually that's really not kind of something that is part of their skill set and it hasn't needed to be? And then you can also think about the origin of the original dish. Some of you may have seen, most of you might not have done, but there is a restaurant or like a little takeaway shop in York, and there's a few in other parts of the country as well, where they serve a roast dinner, but on a massive Yorkshire pudding, and it's rolled up into a wrap, so like a tortilla wrap, but it's a Yorkshire pudding and it's got a roast dinner inside. Is that close enough to what the original dish looks like so that people that love a roast dinner, are they going to buy that? Is it too different? Is it going to kind of lean towards being more likely to be bought by one type of person, a different type of person? They're all the things we need to consider and just think about when we are serving a dish or when someone is plating a dish up. So your task, quite a nice one. You are going to design a Valentine's Day dish for someone you care about. So it could be a family member, a friend, a loved one. It could even be for yourself. We all need a little bit of self-care. The dish could be a starter, a main course, or a dessert, but not a snack. It really needs to be either starter, main course, or dessert. And you're going to use the example on the next slide to guide you. So, when you're designing something, just sketch it out. You're not getting marks for the quality of your drawing as long as it's clear. And the way you're going to label it, and it's the labels that are most important, you're going to use this P kind of strategy, which you've probably used maybe in your English lessons, history lessons. So you're going to make your point, which would be your first label. You're going to explain that point. So for example, I've said a heart-shaped pizza, My explanation is it's Valentine's Day is about love and pizza is popular. And then my evaluate is I put the heart shape and the fact it's pizza will help to cheer everyone up, which everyone needs a bit of cheering up at the moment. Another example I could put, my point is that it's pepperoni and mozzarella topping. My explanation is these are my favourite toppings. And then my evaluation is my Valentine's meal is for myself as I deserve it, and pepperoni will make me happy. Okay, each of your points and your explanations and your evaluations don't need to be particularly complex. It's just about that thought process. So you're thinking, considering these different, so where I've put what the things you can talk about, it's just showing that you've considered them when you're doing your design. Do this on paper. I don't expect you to do it on a computer. It'd be much easier to do it on paper and then take a photo and upload it once you have finished. Please make sure it goes onto Teams. And then once you finish that, you need to come back. There'll be a live call again, and then I will give you your end of term assessment. So same format as your midterm assessment, but it's a little bit smaller. All right. Thank you very much, Year 7.